Welcome to LLM BFF. AI isn't mystical or conscious, but we are. LLMs, large language models, a kind of AI, are a mirror that can help us explore our head, heart, and spirit. They take patterns from practically everything ever written and filter them into something that fits our particular moment. LLMs don't think or feel, but they can reflect things back to us in strange and useful ways, if we know how to ask them. People may use AI for job productivity or money-making schemes, or they might speak about AI as though it's something to harbor great fear over. We don't do that here. We understand that AI is a neutral tool, and we use it for good. We provide a balance. It's normal to hesitate. We've been taught to guard our inner world, especially online. But using an LLM for self-reflection isn't about confession. It's like journaling in a mirror that speaks back. The model doesn't judge, unless you ask it to. We can speak in symbols and metaphors and fragments. I want to discuss my grief without telling you the origin story. I feel like a locked room. Let's discuss a hypothetical person. We can still be honest without being exposed. We can stay blurry. Meaning can still take shape. And if we want to spill the entirety of our guts, we can delete AI memory after each session, or throw caution to the wind with the knowledge that all humans are in some way incomplete, and the quest for betterment or understanding is the noblest of all goals. Each LLM BFF video is a structured prompting system designed to support an area of personal growth, self-reflection, myth-making, meaning-finding, dream decoding, or whatever we feel like poking at or improving that day. We will walk through myriad ways to begin an AI session, how to redirect if things go off course, and how to ask the AI to give us our findings in ways that help us put them to use in our daily lives. And if you want to bypass AI altogether, well, consider this a giant bank of journal prompts for your notebook, baby. No corporate speak, no AI butt kissing, just clear, structured AI prompts for your head, heart, and spirit. A lot of us don't give our values much consideration. We absorb them through a sort of osmosis, from family, culture, preferences, whatever. We don't usually name them or check our life decisions against them. This isn't about writing some identity statement. It's about noticing what already drives us, the choices we make on autopilot, the things we keep close, the stuff we avoid at any cost. Let's use a language model to surface the values we're actually living by, the ones that get our energy, even when we're exhausted or kind of pissed off at nothing in particular. So why do we want to identify our values? What use can we put the information to? Make better decisions, because knowing what matters makes it easier to do the right thing. Understand our behavior. Our values already show up in our habits. Navigate relationships clearly. Values shape boundaries, even when we pretend they don't. Create authentically. When we know what we stand for, the work just feels right. Understand others better. Checking our values and watching them evolve helps us give others grace. How do we do it? Using a simple system to get us familiar with how LLMs can help us out. First is framing. It's important to get into the right headspace before beginning. We'll do this with some questions for self-reflection. Next comes our initial prompt, in the form of intention plus format. This is what we first enter into the LLM chat to make sure the course is set to get the answers we're after. We'll look at 6 examples of different ways to begin, depending on our vibe that day. Then we'll discuss iteration, with examples of how we might reshape the conversation if it starts getting a little off track. Finally, we'll look at takeaways. We'll discuss 6 different ways we might ask for our final outputs and put the information to use. So let's get started with framing. Ask yourself, am I trying to figure myself out, or am I just trying to sound cool or philosophical? What do I hope to use my values in service of? What kinds of hurt stick with me the longest? Pause here and continue when your headspace is cleared. It's important to keep some caveats in mind when using LLMs. This is not therapy. LLMs can support introspection, but they aren't able to hold emotional complexity like a human. Don't get all weird with it. LLMs are not magic. They reflect patterns. It's useful because it's mechanical, not mystical. You're the mystical one. LLMs are people pleasers. They aim to agree and support, unless you tell them to challenge. Don't mistake helpfulness for honesty. Employ a little skepticism. Agency lives with the user. LLMs can mirror, question, and organize, but you choose what resonates and what doesn't. Now let's open our LLM in the browser. We'll start with our intention stated clearly. I want to identify my values. Before we submit, let's look at some ways we can customize our initial prompt to our tastes. Can you help me understand what my core values are by turning them into symbols, patterns, or constellations? I want to see them from a mythic or poetic perspective, not just a list. Can we identify my values by looking at what I return to over and over? Rituals, words, tiny things I treat like they matter? I want to name what's sacred to me, even if it's quiet. Can we explore what matters most to me through memories that made me feel proud, safe, or really loved? I want to feel my values before I try to name them. What are my values based on how I actually spend my time, energy, and money? I want to look at my habits and routines to figure out what I truly prioritize, not just what I say I do. I want to figure out what my values are by starting with the body. Ask me questions about when I feel tense, strong, grounded, or on edge. Then help me trace the values beneath that. Help me find the values I've had to protect or build on my own. I don't always trust language like core values, but I know what I've fought for and what I won't let go of. Once we've worked with our initial prompt and had some back and forth, we might find ourselves getting a little off the point, or getting answers that aren't very suited to us. Let's look at a few iterations that can course correct the combo. These feel too surface level. Can you ask me questions that reveal what I long for, even if it doesn't seem realistic or concrete yet? Maybe use dream language or visual metaphors to help me get there. I think I'm forcing the language too much. Can you help me find the values I live by? Things that come naturally. We've lost the flow. I'm feeling overwhelmed. Can we slow down and focus on what feels emotionally right, not just what sounds good? Maybe help me notice what I always put off or what I miss when I don't do it. This is getting too abstract. Can we zoom in? Ask me direct questions about what I actually want to change in my routine or environment. A short quiz or sorting activity might help me clarify. This list sounds good on paper, but it doesn't land in my body. Help me rework these values based on what makes me feel grounded, strong, or like I want to move. I think I'm avoiding something. Can you ask sharper, more uncomfortable questions? What am I afraid to want? What patterns am I protecting? Push a little harder if you need to. The conversation is winding down and we have some good ideas brewing. Let's look at some ways we can ask the LLM for our results and make sure we have a game plan for putting the results to use in our daily lives. Can you turn the values we uncovered into symbolic imagery or metaphors I can keep close? like talismans, archetypes, or story elements I can return to when I feel unclear? Can you help me gather the values we found into a short mantra or reflection I can reread when I forget what matters? Something gentle but sacred feeling. Can you give me a gentle summary of my values and how they connect to the moments I feel most like myself? Maybe include a few journal prompts to explore them further. Can you give me a final summary of my core values, plus one or two ways to act on each one practically in my schedule, spending, or relationships? Can you list my values in a way that connects each one to a physical sensation or real-life decision? I want to know how to recognize them when I feel off-center. Can you show me what values came up that I might not have trusted before? I want a clear list, something that feels like armor, not branding. You just named what actually matters. Not what sounds impressive, but what's real for you. Save it somewhere. Let it rattle around a bit. You don't have to do anything dramatic with it. Just start noticing when you're living by your values and when you're not so much. If it gets muddy later, no problem. That's why we save the helpful LLM conversations so we can come back and iterate some more. This has been LLM BFF. Useful cases, no mystery. Goodbye.